Dexter Harps and the Breakfast Team, good morning. It's Kasra Alam here. Welcome to Asian Network's Big Debate. Today we're asking, do you welcome Narendra Modi back to the UK? The Indian Prime Minister's in London to meet Theresa May and the Queen before heading to a Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting this evening. But his visit has divided the diaspora. While some British Indians are celebrating his arrival with a flash mob dance to show support in London, others are staging a protest to speak out against the way they feel the Indian government has treated Jagtar Singh Johal, a British Indian detained without charge in India. So I'm asking you today, how do you feel about Modi returning to the UK? Do you feel that he should be welcomed, or do you feel he should be criticised for not doing enough to protect the human rights of minorities in India? Call us 03459 440 445 or text us 81869. First, the news.
I'm Nikesh Shrugani. A woman's died and 7 people have been injured in the US after part of a jet engine apparently exploded mid-flight. Witnesses say a woman was almost sucked out of a broken window but was rescued by fellow passengers. Marty Martinez was a passenger on the plane.
There was a boom, and then moments later, then we hear an explosion, and that explosion was the window just popping, just completely shattering. And then immediately the plane then starts like tilting and turbulence really bad, and I literally thought we were going to be hitting the ground like in the next 30 seconds because it just felt like a free fall.
Narendra Modi is in London to meet Prime Minister Theresa May. He's the first Indian PM in 9 years to attend a Head of Commonwealth meeting. Asian Network's Adam Pasternicki is in Whitehall.
It's highly unusual to see scenes like this greeting a bilateral meeting with Theresa May, but Narendra Modi is not just any politician. He has a very fierce and tribal amount of supporters, equally vociferous protesters who we're expecting to see a little bit later on here in Westminster as he continues to meet Theresa May ahead of the opening of the Commonwealth Leaders meeting tomorrow.
Reports from the United States say their top security boss has paid a secret visit to North Korea. The director of the CIA, Mark Pompeo, is said to have met with the secretive country's leader, Kim Jong-un. Facebook users in the UK will, from today, be asked if the social network can start using facial recognition technology to identify them in photos and videos. The request is one of several opt-in choices being offered as the EU prepares to introduce new data privacy law. Starbucks is closing more than 8,000 cafes in America for an afternoon next month to give staff training in racial awareness. It's after the coffee chain apologised to 2 black men arrested when a manager at a store refused to let them use a toilet. Here's what some people in Washington made of it.
I think that they are taking a look at themselves and deciding where they can make improvements, and I think it's a bold move.
I don't really think that's going to make a difference. It really gets down to the heart of Americans, of white Americans, of black Americans. I think it takes more with training within our households.
Sport now, and in the Premier League last night, Brighton and Tottenham drew 1-1 at the Amex Stadium. It leaves Brighton 8 points above the relegation zone with 4 to play. Spurs stay in 4th. Meanwhile, Accrington Stanley clinch promotion to League One for the first time in their history. John Coleman's side beat Yeovil 2-0 and are now unbeaten in 14 matches.
Can't praise the players enough. They've run themselves into the ground day in, day out. Games like tonight, we were like an unstoppable force tonight. Nothing was going to get in our way.
And in the IPL, the defending champions, the Mumbai Indians, chalked up their first win of the season, thrashing the Royal Challengers Bangalore. Captain Rohit Sharma led his side to a 46-run victory, smashing 94 from just 52 balls. RCB skipper Virat Kohli made a superb unbeaten 92, but it was all in vain. Asian Network News and Sport.
This is Asian Network's Big Debate with Kasra Alam.
Good morning, 10:04 here on the Big Debate. Welcome to the programme. Do you welcome Narendra Modi back to the UK? The Indian Prime Minister's return to London. He's going to meet Theresa May, Prince Charles, and have an audience with the Queen. This is all ahead of attending a Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting this evening. But do you feel his arrival on UK shores should be celebrated or protested? Some British Indians are welcoming his arrival with a flash mob dance. Are you with them? After all, he has helped to develop India into a global superpower. But you know what? Others are staging a protest against Modi. They feel the Indian government doesn't do enough to protect minorities or people's human rights? For example, Jagtar Singh Jahal, a British Indian detained without charge in India, or the gang rape of an 8-year-old Muslim girl in a Hindu temple. Where do you stand on this? If you're a Hindu, if you're a Sikh, or if you're a Muslim, how would you feel about Modi coming to your city or your town? Call me and let me know your thoughts.
Call 03459 440 445.
We're going to also be speaking to a number of guests I've invited into the studio in a couple of minutes' time. But first, BBC Asian Network's Adam Pasternicki is at Downing Street, where Narendra Modi has been visiting Theresa May. Adam, thanks very much for your time this morning. What's been happening? How's it all going there?
Well, Narendra Modi has just left Downing Street about a minute or so ago. His car is now pulling down towards the heavy metal gates at the bottom of Downing Street. You can probably hear the drummers. I'll just get away from the mic for a second. Did you hear the drumming go up?
You can hear it now. I can hear it, yeah.
They've just seen him. He's pulling away. So how he's working is all his supporters are across the road on Whitehall. The road kind of divides them. There are lots of police. He's pulling away now. He's in a 6-car convoy. He's been having a breakfast meeting with Theresa May for around an hour now. A lot being made of the fact that he is the only Commonwealth head of state to be given a bilateral. He's actually got 2 during this period, and it kind of underlies the work that's being done, particularly from the British side, on really strengthening the links with Prime Minister Modi and the Indian government at the moment, especially very visible on this visit.
And what is it exactly they're going to be talking about? What does Modi want out of this meeting?
Well, I think there are a few things that he clearly wants to get some movement on. He's disturbed about student visas and how that affects Indian students wanting to study in this country. He is concerned about a certain number of individuals viewed by the Indian government as having religiously extreme views who reside here. Also, high net worth individuals who are able to reside in Britain as well and are perhaps accused of certain offences in India, and what the processes are in terms of bringing them to justice over there. So he has certain things he will want movement on from Theresa May's side, from the British government side. It's pretty simple. It's going to be centred mainly on trade, and Britain looking to strengthen links with what is the Commonwealth's biggest economy, especially post-Brexit. That trading relationship becomes even more important. There's something else that Mr Modi and his government does get out of this kind of relationship through the Commonwealth. It's basically not having China on board, not having China to go through, to negotiate with. The Commonwealth really is this kind of receptacle of soft power, of those strong links between governments. Personal relationships matter very greatly because there aren't these big turning wheels of red tape and whatnot, and I think that's where this is important to Modi.
Absolutely, and obviously we mentioned the drums a little bit earlier on, but what is the atmosphere like? Because we've been talking about the fact that there is going to be a protest there as well as this flash mob dance. What's the turnout been like, and who's actually there?
You do get an impression of just how passionate Narendra Modi's supporters are. They are incredibly committed towards his agenda, to the personal qualities as they see them that he brings to the role. They are very, very confident in his leadership, and they feel that he has established India perhaps in a way that previous leaders of the country hasn't done. I mean, he is high profile. He's very much a figure, a big figure, in a way that some previous political leaders haven't been. However, for everyone who supports him, there's someone who equally passionately opposes him and has grave concerns about his personal record in the past. What we've seen so far today is his supporters have turned up very early and they've greeted him. He came here at 9 o'clock. We are expecting an equal number, and so are the police, it has to be said. There is a very, very large police presence here on Whitehall and around Downing Street of people who, just as his supporters feel very positively about him, there are probably an equal number of people who are deeply concerned about Narendra Modi.
Adam, thanks very much. That's BBC Asia Network's Adam Pasternicki at Downing Street, where Narendra Modi has been visiting Theresa May. We're going to have more from Adam as well in Asian Network Reports. So get in touch with me. Let me know what you think about Narendra Modi. Should we be welcoming him back with open arms, or is this a chance to protest about perceived human rights issues that have been going on in India at the moment? Call me, let me know what you think. 03459 440 445. Text me 81869 or email thebigdebate@bbc.co.uk. Whether you're Hindu, whether you're Sikh, whether you're Muslim, how do you feel about Modi returning to the UK? How would you welcome him if he came to your hometown? Let me know what you think about that. To answer some of these questions, I'm going to be speaking to Puneet Dewadi, who's an IT consultant, and also Jaspreet Singh, who's a representative from the British Organisation of Sikhs. Welcome to the programme, guys. Puneet, first of all, I'm going to ask you, how should we be welcoming him?
I think he's a democratic elected prime minister. So as Britain is one of the oldest democratic countries, so he should be welcomed, and he has improved the relationship with the UK. So I think we should be welcoming him nicely and warmly.
Absolutely. On that level, of course. But as the diaspora, as British Indians, as British Asians, should we be proud of Modi? Should we be proud of what he's done?
Yes, definitely. If you look at the stats, the quality of life has increased during his 4 years of tenure. He has championed the development in India, and he has done a lot of welfare for social welfare, which I would say, like he has installed almost 20 million toilets in 4 years of his time, and there were just more than 50% people in India didn't have access to toilet, which was really, really ashamed. Being an Indian, I was really ashamed of that. But he is trying to change that narrative. And if you look at other stats like electrification, like most of the villages are now electrified. And apart from that, there were lots of FDI inflow in India, like the startup companies, Make in India projects, which has raised up to 40% more FDI in India.
What do you mean FDI?
Foreign direct investment. Mm-hmm. So at least 40% foreign direct investment has increased in...
So that's other countries...
yes, even UK is investing in India. So UK and India has been a partner. I think after the Brexit, India would be the natural partner for UK, because we are going out of EU. So
from a more financial point of view, from quite a theoretical point of view, in terms of modernising India, you think Modi has been positive. Jaspreet, I want to bring you in here on this. What do you think that's the level that we should be looking at this at?
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. And I think just to comment upon the points which Puneet were making earlier, if you see the quality of life, like there was a big thing about Modi, Gujarat model, my God, it's going to go here and there. I'm just going to give you guys some stats. So in 1990s, if you see the Gujarat economy, it was growing more. Obviously, it was growing more than normal India. But now, when Modi came in, it started depleting. So the other fact as well, like Gujarat is the fifth most in debt, what we call state. And
how would you feel about now? That's the question. I'd prefer not to look at stats and things from the past. So, talk to me now, one-on-one. How do you feel? Forget about the stats. How do you feel about him being here?
If I'm very honest, that's what I feel terrified. I feel he's going to give statements which are going to label young Sikhs, people from the diaspora, that these are Sikh radicals, these are terrorists, etc., etc. And we don't accept it, because the fact is, if you look at his human rights records, it's not fair. It's not fair. I stand with Muslim students, I stand with people from the diaspora who say, actually, he was the one who killed us. So imagine the person who did a massacre.
Well, he didn't. You can't say that he killed us, can you? You can't say that. Obviously, he's not done anything like that.
He provoked what we call it.
Has he provoked?
Yes, he did. So if you look at the stats, there's a very good what we call scholar who wrote Gujarat Files. She said how loads of phone calls were going here and there. So as a young Sikh, I will welcome I will not welcome and I will say, Modi, can you please go back home?
Puneet, how do you feel hearing all this?
I think all of the stats are made up. All the courts, if you believe in democracy, all the Supreme Court and the High Courts of India has not leveled any charges on Modi on any of the human right. So I think there are some vested interests who want to divide India. As the gentleman said that he will go on the stage and say some provocative things, but I have never heard him saying anything provocative against any religion, caste or creed. If you can show me any video or any audio where he said that. So I think it's just made up. Yeah.
I can tell you, when Gujarat riots were happening, so people were asking, can you apologize for it? And the fact was, there was an apology. And he gave an example where he said, puppies die. And he gave an example like puppy die under cars and all that stuff. So that is. In fact,
if you have not done anything, you should never.
He's never been charged with anything, has he? In Gujarat,
the fact
there's been a lot of controversy there. He hasn't been charged. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, there is.
I'd love to hear what other people are thinking as well. I'm definitely going to carry on with you guys, but we've got Akshay who's called in from Wembley. But anybody else who wants to call, the number 03459 440 445. Text me as well 81869 or email thebigdebate@bbc.co.uk. Definitely going to carry this on with Jaspreet and Puneet here in the studio. But let's go to Akshay. Called in from Wembley. How should we welcome Narendra Modi back to the UK, Akshay?
Good morning. Hi there. I think that we should. I personally welcome the visit of Narendra Modi. India is one of the world powers. It's an integral part of the Commonwealth, of course, and I think it's very important to cement a positive and mutually beneficial relationship between Britain and India post-Brexit. I know there's been a lot of furore over his visit due to things that have occurred in the past. For example, obviously what happened in Gujarat. But when people talk about the Gujarat riots, they never ever refer to the Godra. I don't condone anything of what happened at that time in Gujarat. I'd never condone violence, but let me be frank, this man does not wish to harm the minorities of India. He does not wish to eradicate Muslims, Sikhs or Christians or anything like that. He has noticed that corruption and dishonesty in India is rife, and he wishes to eliminate corruption, and he wishes to revive India's spiritual heart. And this in turn, what that will do is then help life for people to change. We'll see. We won't, I'm sure, like the gentleman previously was saying that, he'd built, he'd made sure that there are more toilets available.
20 million extra toilets, he was saying.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's trying to put the things in place, the infrastructure in place, so that life can change for people. But it's not going to be just one man the problem is that corruption does not go away very easily, and corruption is commonplace in both the Indian National Congress and the BJP. So it isn't just one man who is going to be able to make changes in India. It's got to come from the grassroots. It's got to be.
What do you make of the criticisms people label towards his human rights track record? The fact that sometimes he doesn't speak out about issues, for example, that affect minorities?
I'm not entirely sure that's true, to be honest with you. I think what it is that in India, what we want is not to have to of course there are issues like that, but are they?
Is that acceptable to have issues like that? Are we just accepting it and saying, of course?
No, absolutely not. We should never accept any types of issues of that nature. But as far as I'm concerned, I think in India, Hindus, generally, if I speak as a Hindu myself, we are able to peacefully coexist with virtually anyone. Without any problems, as I say, you talk about Gujarat, you look at the history of Gujarat. Gujarat has got Gujarati Muslims, it's got Parsis. The Parsis were being persecuted by Muslims in Persia, in Iran, and it was Hindus that provided them with safe refuge in Gujarat.
So you're going to be welcoming Modi today? Let's move on.
Yeah.
Thanks, Akshay. That was Akshay from Wembley. If you want to get in touch with us, 03459 440 445, or text us 81869. And I've got Jaspreet and Puneet here who are itching to come in, but we've got a few more callers I'm going to go to as well, like Shahid, who's called in from Hemel Hempstead. Thanks for coming on to the programme. How do you feel about this? Would you be proud if you came to Hemel Hempstead, Shahid?
No, I've never supported BJP politics. I'm not a supporter of nationalism in general. And I remember when the BJP became big in the late 90s, the world was in shock because they used to get about 5% of the vote previously to the late 90s, and then they suddenly emerged as the largest party. And they were seen as the equivalent of the BNP, British National Party. This is a nationalist party on a right-wing basis. I have issues over the Kashmir situation in general. I hear successive British governments copping out on this. They basically say, we don't want to get involved because we're ashamed of our legacy. Well, if they're really ashamed of their legacy, why on earth are they having a Commonwealth in general? Yeah. Why are they having a Commonwealth meeting? But India calls itself the world's biggest democracy. And when Britain left India, when it came to Kashmir, one of the last so-called princely states, an autonomous state, the condition, the leader of Kashmir was a Hindu, but the vast majority of the people were Muslim. And Lord Mountbatten, the British governor, viceroy, whatever you want to call him, he said to the Indians, you can have Kashmir on the condition that the people will be given a referendum to confirm what they want, independence, Pakistan or India.
It's interesting what you're saying there, Shahid, because one of the things I want to actually pick up on that you talked about is, the UK government involvement. I think you even said, copping out. Let's talk about that a little bit more. Do you think that by having all this at the moment, you find it double standards?
Absolutely. If there's money involved, or oil, or big contracts, be it China, be it India, be it the Saudis with their oil, with Israel, I'm not a racist before anyone starts saying, racist, but in Israel have got a lot of people that make big donations, if you're pro-Israel. If there's money involved, if you throw enough money behind anything, you can get the politicians...
Let's bring in Shahid, thanks very much.
India is massive. And obviously Britain and the West are not going to want to upset and lose all those contracts in India. I don't blame them on that, but I think they should be consistent and not be double standard or hypocritical.
Do you agree with what Shahid's been saying there? Do you think there should be consistency? Do you think there's some double standards here? Let me know what you think. 03459 440 445. You can also text as well, 81869. I'm going to be reading some messages out soon. But first, let's go to Ariba Sultan, who's a youth and women's president for Global Pakistani Kashmir Council. Shahid was touching on Kashmir there. Ariba, what do you think about Modi coming today? How are you going to be reacting to this? How do you feel about it?
Hi, Rahul. Thanks for having me on the show. I think the obvious thing is I can appreciate the comments being made by Shahid and by the young man who called from Wembley before that, but I'm going to be protesting against Modi today, and I'm not going to be alone. There's going to be lots of people from various different communities, various different backgrounds who will be joining me today here at Parliament Square. Is
that the right thing to do, protesting like that? Is that the most positive thing to do?
Well, lobbying him, speaking out on social media, on paper and traditional media hasn't seemed to work. He doesn't seem to listen. Take a look at what happened with that poor young girl, Asifa, in Kashmir. It took him several weeks to release a statement. So I think, essentially, if you protest in front of a global community with all the Commonwealth leaders here, he might be forced to actually do something about it for once.
What do you make of this, Puneet? You've been hearing a lot of people actually giving Modi some heat and actually saying he's ducking and he's diving social responsibility.
Yeah, I'd just like to say two things. The first is I see the double standard in human rights here. Do you know how many Kashmiri Hindus have been driven out of Kashmir? Nobody talks about them because there are so many Hindu population who have migrated to UK and Canada and other countries because they were just degraded to just 2% and now they're almost nil in Kashmir. So why nobody talks about the Kashmiri Hindus? So it's a double standard. And about Modi, during his election campaign and even now when he comes to television or any shows, he says that Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, which means it's development for everyone. He does not consider special status for anyone. So most of the Indian people have got used to that special treatment on the basis of caste, religion. So they're not getting that. That's what they are being troubled. So he's just basing it on the basis of financial status. If you're poor, if you're socially unwell, then he will uplift you. It's not based on what religion you belong.
Yeah, and I think just on the comment, Sabka Vikas, I don't know, I forgot the statement. But we have to realize that the development is for the people. It's for the people who are on the ground, for the people who fought for independence. Obviously, then like, I was speaking to a Tamil student and I was asking, what do you think Modi has done? And one thing she said, we don't need development if people don't live. So if you go like the Sagarmala project, which he's saying, is taking the fisheries away from Tamil Nadu people. Like it's taking what we call all businesses away, and then they are forced to work in a companies which they don't own. And it's like very forced thing. And on the other side as well, like what Vikas is he talking about? Like if you talk about different states, the way the nationalism, and I think I'll come on the point which he mentioned about Hindus being tortured in Kashmir. But if you see Muslim brothers from day one since so-called India got independent, they get killed. And why? Like, this is the thing. State is sponsoring something and someone else is getting affected by it. And obviously reaction is very minor reactions, which is affecting population. So a dividing agenda is there by RSS.
Puneet,
it's there
you're
by Modi.
shaking your head here so
And
much. What's going on?
It's there by Modi, and it's not fair.
I think this gentleman is just making allegations this gentleman is just making allegations without any proof.
Okay, I'll give you a proof. I will give you a proof. He came here in 2015 and said Sikhs are radical, there's extremism going, and said it's happening here. So what happened? There was nothing given to UK government by Modi. There's nothing happened, but now, thank God, there were really good researchers who did work on Sikh radicalization and completely flawed arguments. So the fact is, Modi, it was flawed. So those were the flawed arguments.
Modi never said that Sikh are radicalized. What he says that those people who are not think themselves as a part of India, they are radicalized. He never said that all the Sikhs are radicalized.
Okay. And I think at the end of the day, I call it so-called India, Union of India, because before that, it's a colonial
What do you think about the Hindu exodus from Kashmir? Why did the population has become zero in
So the fact is, the state used it as a tool to divide the community there.
Why don't you talk about them?
If you go back to Punjab, Hindu Muslims in Kashmir as well, we used to live together peacefully in a pluralistic society. But since this nationalism, so-called nationalism, has come into existence, the people are being forced away. And this should not happen, because we want to live together peacefully. We want to live with each other. But obviously, India is Union of India. Obviously, some countries like Kashmir, Tamil Nadu, Khalistan definitely should be made independent. And why not? Because the power is very centric. And that's not fair.
I don't think what I believe is that he never said the statement that Sikhs are radicalized. But
he said it. He said it.
Okay. And so many issues there we're going to be talking about. We're going to be carrying on talking about what do you think about what's been said here. 03459 440 445. Text me as well, 81869. Email thebigdebate@bbc.co.uk. I want to hear what you think about this. Do you agree with Puneet? Do you agree with Jaspreet? Is what Modi's doing, is the way he's modernising India, is that what we should be focusing on? Or should we be focusing on the human rights side? Should we be focusing on the social side, as Jaspreet's been saying? Let me know what you think there. Going to be back in a couple of minutes' time, where we're going to speak to Ravi from London, who actually thinks that Modi could perhaps do a little bit more to tackle some issues. But first, a track.
Asian Network reports
on what's happening near you.
We're not allowed to pray silently. We're not allowed to approve or disapprove of abortion, not just us, anybody.
On stories from around the world.
Using chemical weapons, that has to be stopped.
On sport.
I think the bowling department and the strengthening of it has been a massive boost for us.
On Bollywood.
I always was very unsure about my work.
Asian Network reports.
On more than just news.
They want to feel comfortable within themselves. Is that really so wrong?
Asian Network reports on the things that matter.
Weekdays from 1 and 5.
10:31 here on The Big Debate. Do you welcome Narendra Modi back to the UK? Give me a call, 03459 440 445. Text me as well, 81869, or email thebigdebate@bbc.co.uk. Do you feel that Modi's modernised India and we should be proud of him here as British Indians, as British Asians here in the UK? Or do you feel that we need to be talking about the human rights issues that are going on in India? Let me know your thoughts on this. Had a number of you get in touch on the text and Facebook. Amar says every minority group is under threat and has been since the 60s. The aim of Modi's party is to do away with all religion except their version of Hinduism. In Punjab, the Punjabi language is being outlawed in all government and public-facing institutions. That's from Aman there. We've also had Jagpal on Twitter saying Modi should be welcomed, but without a private audience with the Queen, and also holds a press conference with intrepid British journalists who can question him robustly. That's from Jagpal on Twitter. Thanks for that. And on Facebook, you guys have been getting in touch as well. Ramila says, definitely welcome a leader who is an active individual. He is not in his position because of his family, but because he was voted in. Democracy. Of course, there will be a minority of demonstrations, but that is freedom of speech, like it or not. The NRI do not vote. Amar on Facebook's also said, divided opinions, because mullahs and Khalistanis don't like him, but they don't like a resurgent India either. No, guys, I just want to read out these messages first of all, if it's okay. And then Jayesh has said, I got swept up in the euphoria when he first got elected as Prime Minister. In fact, a lot of Indian Hindus thought he was the second coming. Now that reality has bitten, he is no better or worse than any political leader. All his idealism sounds like just pie in the sky now. Unfortunately, he's going to be remembered for some horrific stories in India rather unfairly. As for him coming here, I couldn't care less. The dancing and singing is just plain embarrassing. Not in my name. That's from Jayesh there. Anything there that you actually completely disagree with, text me, call me 81869 or call me 03459 440 445. I want to get you on the programme. I want to know what you think. We've got so much time to do it. Got Lala, who's called in from Stoke, and also Ravi from London. But first, we're going to go to Shahid quickly, because Shahid, you got a point to make about Kashmir before you head off. Isn't that right, Shahid?
Yeah, I've got 3 quick points if you'll allow me. On your guest saying that there's Hindus being hounded out of Kashmir, as a political geek, I've not heard of that, but if I'll take it he's correct. But there's also been about 100,000 troops of India in Kashmir since the early 90s. Definitely. So if I was a Hindu being hounded by Muslims, and I don't agree that people should be hounded in a generalised way or any way, and then go to the police, go to the troops. But my family's on the Pakistani side of Kashmir. You don't get very far in Pakistan generally, but especially in Kashmir, without bumping into police, without bumping into troops. So that's what I would do. But B, this situation has to be resolved. The British have allowed this to linger. They could have easily sorted the Israeli situation out if they put sanctions on, if they threaten sanctions, saying, we want relations with you, we want your people here, but if you don't sort this out, then you're not going to enjoy full relations with us. And it's high time both countries, because, there's both there's segments on both sides that let stupid little Are
we talking India and Pakistan here?
Yeah, it's both about time that they put silly little, egotistical things aside and think about both countries, and they were all one big country at first. They were both held back by 200 to 300 years of British colonialism. Look how much both countries have done quite well in 70 years. And if they work together, they really could become like the Germany and Great Britain of Asia.
Shahid, thanks so much for your time there. Thanks for making those points. That was Shahid from Hemel Hempstead. We've got to go to Lala in a moment from Stoke. Obviously, you're going to hear from Puneet and Jaspreet here as well. They've got a number of points that they want to come back on there. But let's go to Ravi first, who's been waiting patiently on the line from London. Ravi, thanks so much for your call. What more do you think you could do then to tackle some of these issues that are in the limelight at the moment?
Well, the limelight issues, I think he needs to, make more of the comments like the rape cases in Assam and the issue in the Kashmir rape case. So talk about all these issues, not just, it's just some of your guests seem to think that the minorities don't include Kashmir Hindus who've been handed out of Kashmir. They are the original inhabitants of Kashmir, which was invaded by the Arabic names over 800 years ago and committed genocide in Kashmir. So let's not forget what the Arabic named invaders did. As regards Modi, he's trying to build a pluralistic society. Look at his family members. Are any of his family members rich? Are any of his family members rich?
Amit Shah?
He's trying to reduce the corruption. He's trying to reduce the corruption. And at the end of the day, your guests can laugh, but let's look at the facts then.
Okay.
Puneet?
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with this gentleman. As my colleague Jasprit mentioned, that the Kashmiri exodus happened because of some it
is vested toxic nationalism.
He forgot that
dividing communities.
That didn't happen during Modi's tenure. That was in 1990, 1991.
If you see, now it's more intensive.
So was Modi went there in Kashmir and said people...
We're starting to drift off towards the past. No, I know it's clearly very, very important context, but we're talking about today.
Yeah,
we're talking about now.
For Modi, I would say he is democratic elected prime minister, and as a democracy in UK, you should welcome him. And about the he, as I said earlier, he has done a lot for social welfare, which has never been done in last 70 years. Electrification of village, toilets, and bank account for so many people, as well as the affordable housing, which I like very much. Even my parents who are in India, they were afford to buy houses because of this scheme. So I think he has done, irrespective of considering what caste you are, what religion you are. That's
okay. I've got 2 points, Puneet. And first of all, if he's democratic elected president of a so-called India...
Prime Minister,
whatever. He's of so-called India. He should be accountable. He should be accountable to his, what we call, the voters he got votes from. He should be accountable to the people. So when Gauri Lankesh, a very good, profound journalist, was killed, there were BJP people celebrating her death. There was another one, Kulburgi, who was killed. BJP people were celebrating in that. And that's the thing. He didn't spoke, and sometimes silence speak more. And the other point I would like to mention, the person mentioned Khalistanis. Let me tell you what Khalistan is. It's basically a war between 2 ideologies. So what is Khalemi Raj, what we want. So if you see Indian independence, obviously we're the one who fought and died, not for India, for our virtues. Our virtues is a place where we can put the practices of gurus in a place where everyone can realize inner independence. Obviously that's going to start from, what we call Punjab, obviously. So that's what Khalistan is Khalemi Raj. And I will say, I will finish on one little point. I will quote the Gurbani. It says, Pੈ kahut ko detne na pੈ manat aan, kaho nanak sun re mana gyani tahe bakhan. So it means don't give fear to someone, don't be fearful from someone. I will only recognize that person as wise person. So because what's happening in India, fascism is rising. People are being getting killed, butchered on the streets for what?
Ravi, what do you make of this?
I'm really surprised.
I just want to bring Ravi in here.
Yeah, basically, yes, Hindus are being killed in Kerala. Have a look at West Bengal. What's Mamata Banerjee doing there to some of the Hindu practices and what's going on down there? So if you want to include everything, can you include all the facts, please, and not just your selected facts?
Yeah. How do you feel about this? Okay. How is this, Ravi? How do you think this is affecting, British Asians here, British Indians here in the UK?
I think looking at it is we're seeing the development that Prime Minister Modi is doing that the Congress Party hasn't done enough because of their corruption money.
Do you think that it's actually... Do you think everything that we're discussing here is creating a wedge between different, British Asians here? Do you think it's creating a wedge between Hindus, Sikhs, Muslims here?
I think there's going to be polarity of views, so we have to accept that people have different viewpoints, and they need to be talk together in like a friendly atmosphere. When you debate in a friendly atmosphere. Mm-hmm. Just because someone's got a different point of view, it doesn't mean you have something against them. We don't. We're just questioning each other.
And I would just like to...
As a gentleman, he said he was from the Pakistani side of Kashmir. He said that India and Pakistan can be like East Germany and West Germany. That's what even I think personally. India and Pakistan can grow together. Modi has given several chances. He made an impromptu visit to Pakistan to make friendship with the ex-Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, and he met him in G20 summit, and everywhere he greeted, and I see him very friendly talking to him. But even after that, they come up and attack people here. And the second point about the genocide, all the genocide, Sikh genocide, the Kashmiri Hindu genocide, all happened during Congress rule, and nobody talks about it. Why you're selectively picking...
Let's talk to Lala from Stoke, who's called in. Lala, thanks for coming onto the programme. Does what Modi does in India affect the reputation of British Indians here?
Well, as a Muslim, right, I wouldn't welcome anyway, right?
You wouldn't?
Because I wouldn't, no chance, because I'm a Muslim myself, yeah? And the brothers who are suffering in India, right, when he was, he's Prime Minister now of India, right? But what he was in Gujarat, prior to that, right, under his watch, right, how many people got killed? Innocent people got killed, right? He never apologized, the guy didn't. Right? And now he's turned into a prime minister. He's even more awesome power he's wielding now, right? Yeah. And I'm saying, right, I'm an ordinary person, right? I'm not a politician or anything, right? I mean, if you're wielding less power then, right? Imagine you're awesome now, right? What are you going to be do to the minority now when you got so much power under your belt, like? Right.
But what has he been doing? As Puneet was saying there, he has been modernising India. He's been, like I said, 20 million toilets installed. He's been helping to bring in investment from other countries. So there is that side of things of what he's been doing after becoming PM.
But why are you gonna? I mean, if you aren't peace at mind, right? Minority are suffering in the country, right?
Yes.
What are you going to do with toilets if you feel right? You're not going to do toilet, are you?
So true.
What's his name? You're feeling for your, life. Why are you going to go die in there, you know?
Let's bring in Poonam Joshi. Lala, I take that point. Stay there if you can. But I want to bring in Poonam Joshi, who's a founder of Indian Ladies in UK and the Project Unity and Diversity. Lala makes a good point there, doesn't he?
I wouldn't agree with all of them. I mean, sorry, I didn't catch the name who was talking for and against.
That's okay.
What I would like to say is we are very excited that Mr. Modi is visiting the United Kingdom, and it's a very, very proud moment for us Indians, and we just did a flash mob for him, and ladies dressed up in various different colors that shows that the diversity of India, and also it represents the season of spring. And spring is usually connected with hope and beginnings and happiness.
Poonam, you've mentioned there 3 words that I want to bring you up on, okay? Pride, hope, and happiness. Tell me what one thing Modi has done that makes you proud, that makes you hopeful for a future, makes you happy. Tell me that one first thing that comes to your mind.
I will tell you. He makes me proud. I mean, look at him. There are 53 heads of different countries attending the UK for Chogam. Mr. Modi is the only person who has got special, meetings with the Prime Minister, with the Queen, Prince Charles. And
it's not true. Others are as well. Lots of other heads of state, lots of other prime ministers and presidents, heads of government.
I'll just add to Poonam, you should be proud because Modi is the only prime minister who has given 9 council of ministers in his government, out of which 6 are cabinet rank. So women empowerment is done only by Modi, not even the women prime minister Indira Gandhi, who were...
Absolutely. No, that is what I was coming to. That it's why is he getting such special treatment? He must be doing something right. UK, India means...
Is it him or is it the potential of India? Is it the potential of the 8 billion people?
Yeah. The world. Come on. Okay. So many prime ministers have, ruled in the past and they have been on the seat. Was India like this before? No. Look at the economy.
It is becoming more fascist state.
Right now. Every head of the country wants to visit India. Every country wants to invest in India.
But is that because of Modi, though, or is that because of the potential?
Yes.
And Mr. Modi has not just looked after the economy of the country as a whole. He hasn't just looked after the people living in the cities,
It's just for some people.
For them,
Do you agree with Poonam? Let me know what you think. 03459 440 445. You can text me as well, 81869, or email thebigdebate@bbc.co.uk. Do you agree that with Poonam that Modi, there's something about him that is attracting positivity from so many other heads of government, and that's what is attractive? What do you think about that? 03459 440 445. You can also text us 81869. I want to go back to Ariba Sultan. From a young person's perspective, Ariba, is Modi a positive beacon for youth in the future?
I don't really think he is, to be honest. I mean, first off, I just wanted to sort of make a few points regarding some of the things the other speakers have said. It's not an issue of Muslim versus Hindu. This is an issue of human rights. This is an issue of basically respecting each other and safeguarding the rights of every single Indian citizen, including the Kashmiris, because they claim Kashmiris as Indian citizens, to basically have a safe and happy and healthy life and have the opportunities provided. So when you look at it from the youth point of view, no, I don't think it's being provided. I don't see that happening under the government of Narendra Modi, because at the end of the day, you've got, first off, the elephant in the room. You've got the issue in Kashmir. Youth are being bombarded with pellets. There's illegal searches taking place. Sons are being ripped away from their families for interrogation, often not being returned to their homes. Women across India, during the time in which Narendra Modi's government has been in place, not just Kashmir, we're talking about you had the Dalit community being attacked in Madhya Pradesh. You had Bengal migrants being attacked on the Rajasthani roads by BJP fanatics. The cow lynchings that are taking place all over. Once that gentleman came in as a minister in UP, he's absolutely well known for his hate speech. Forgive me if I mispronounce his name, but I believe it's that pundit.
Puneet?
If he was so much against any religion, or as it says by various people, Muslims and other, why he is so welcomed in all of the Western Muslim countries? If you go and watch...
It's only because of the money.
Let him finish there for a moment.
So do you think those are... those people are, Saudi Arabia, they are not, they are doing it for money, that's what you mean? It's not because of his Modi's work, that's what you mean?
No, it is because of money, because the fact
So you're blaming the Saudi government, Abu Dhabi government, that they're respecting Modi because of money.
Okay, 1 minute, let me tell you, I'm from a proper rural village from the country called Punjab. So the fact is, we were the one who get the immediate impact. FDI, what is it? It's just for the big corporations. Normal people get marginalized. If you look at the poverty rates, my God, they are hiking. People are dying because they can't get food. So which money, respect are you talking about if people are dying? So I will come back to the point, because you asked a really good question. How does it impact on British citizens here in the diaspora? So I'll give you an example. Jagtar Singh Johal. It's been more than 150 days he's been abducted. A British citizen born here, abducted with no charge in India. So what is it? It's sending a message. If you want to come to India, we will not even let you to do anything. It's a threat. So it's a threat to young Sikhs that you will be labelled as terrorists, you will be labelled as scapegoats. And the second point I would like to mention, Modi wasn't allowed on British or US soil before he was Prime Minister due to his Chief Minister records. And coming back to the point of Sikh genocide, obviously Congress did it. It's the Indian state which perpetrated or did Sikhs then. But on the other edge, it was ultra-nationalist. It was ultra-nationalist. BJP, you were saying you should have done it before. So the fact is, don't blame Congress, man. They did it.
I'm not sure from where he's taking his data.
And I will give you data. Dalits, if you see.
Let Puneet come in for a moment.
So my point is very simple. He has maintained a very good relationship with Israel as well as with all the Western Muslim countries. If Muslims are in fear, so why would they stay in India? You look at Bangladesh or anywhere, the conditions are really, really bad for the minorities. Look at the percentage of decline of Sikhs in Pakistan, the Hindus in Pakistan. When India got independence, it was more than 20%. Now it has reduced to 3%. Nobody talks about it, but we are here to discuss Modi. So I just wanted to say I have a list of social welfare schemes which Modi has done, which none other government has done in last 70 years. And one of my favorite is the affordable housing, electricity and toilet. These are the basic need. Everyone needs it. So
And I will just finish on Dalits, because they are the most marginalized community in so-called India. And if you see the reservation laws being changed of oppressed communities, or should I say they are being oppressed since ages, so they are being changed and the people are being getting killed on the street.
I can have a separate debate on caste, because it's a very controversial topic,
is the
so
thing.
I don't want to...
I think this is the thing. They fear away from caste, religion, etc. because we are pluralistic society. There will be debates.
Is that all to do with Modi, though?
It is.
Predating
He
Modi,
is from RSS. I will give you. He's from RSS. The ideology which actually said Nazi in Germany, Nazi killing of Jews, and they kind of like said it's good. And this is the thing. Where is it going? They never fought for independence.
Modi said that, though, has he? No.
They never fought for independence.
03459440445. Do you agree there with Puneet? Do you agree with Jasprit? Is what Modi's been doing, is the modernisation of India, does that supersede the human rights issues that a number of critics of Modi have? 03459440445 or text me 81869. You can email the big debate at bbc.co.uk as well. Going to go to Jatinder from Reading, who's called in, but first going to get through some of your messages that you've been getting in touch with me on. This one's from Ramesh. I think we should be proud to welcome Modi and do good business with India, and should say sorry not allowed him in the past to visit. That's kind regards from your team from Ron. I also got Sabrina here from Birmingham saying, I can understand why Modi's trying to modernise things, but there are many social issues to deal with. Why not do something to help unity in the country? I think he's just trying to run away from it all and divert the attention. That's from Sabrina. Rajiva's got in touch as well saying, Casa, why is it that the only thing Pakistan talks about is Kashmir? Kashmir is an integral part of India, full stop. Pakistan has spent a fortune sending terrorists and killing numerous people on both sides for what? Ego and justification of the Pakistan
people are not
forces who rule and control the Pakistan state. I don't think you can say that there, okay? Please, we do apologise, but that's not our thoughts there at all. And also we've got Karamjeet, who's got in touch saying, yes, I agree with having demonstrations against Modi during his visit to raise the issues around the treatment of minorities in India. I'm a proud Sikh and understand the injustices being committed against Sikhs in India and the need for a full investigation into the 1984 Sikh genocide, and those responsible need to be held to account. But this issue has been hijacked by the Khalistani extremists, in quotation marks, who have been raising their heads again, mainly in Canada and now increasingly in the UK. It's almost like they're trying to compete with the Islamist extremists and the Taliban, who can be the most extreme.
Oh my God.
These are people's opinions. Everybody is allowed to have their opinion here on this programme, and I welcome people to come in and have their opinions as well. I'm just going to finish off Karamjeet's point here, saying the moderate Sikhs have to stand up to these extremist views. The Sikh gurus who gave their lives to protect human rights and religious freedoms would be appalled at these extremists. The question I would like them to ask is, did any of the gurus ever demand a so-called Khalistan? Also, how many of them would actually go and live in Khalistan or Kashmir? Let's go to Jatinder, who's called in from Reading. I know you got a number of things that you want to say there about that, Jasprit, but so many callers want to get through as well, like Ricky. But first, like I said, Jatinder from Reading. Jatinder.
Yeah. Hi.
Here, as British Indians here, is it important to make that connection? Is it important to welcome Modi?
I think, Casa, thanks. I think, one of the things we must focus this discussion on is what is the benefits for British Indians here of this trip of Modi. And I think, let's just put the focus here. Right now, we're going through Brexit. We're leaving Europe, right? We need to welcome other countries in the Commonwealth, around the world, outside Europe. And I think it's really, really important that we take this on board. And as the future of us, British Indians, let's look at our interest. It is in our interest to negotiate, to work with countries like India, the next superpowers, right, who, we have a lot to do business with. And I think that's where we should focus. And, let's talk about the now. Forget the past. We cannot live on the past. We need to think about the future. And as British Indians and people who are coming from a country who thinks about the future, let's focus there. That's all I wanted to say, yeah?
Okay, the question was on Khalistan. Okay, let me tell you what's the meaning of Khalistan and what is it. So Khalistan is an ideology which was laid by Guru Sahibs to say that we have to create a place where everyone can live and enjoy in independence. And after 1984, the attack on Darbar Sahib by the Indian government is not a small thing. It's not a small thing. It was the biggest worst thing in whole of the world, and it affects us. So the thing is, then the Khalistan Foundation was laid because the state came on our holiest shrine, and that's the thing. And you have to understand very carefully, like the ideology we are promoting is about pluralism, coexisting as we did in Maharaja Ranjit Singh Ji's time. None of the genocide took place when Maharaja Ranjit Singh was there. But we call it under the share of...
Is Khalistan for all religions then? Is that what you're saying?
It is. And the fact is, no one else will be able to oppress. I will come back to the point which I made earlier, which was about the regimes.
Puneet, would you live in Khalistan?
It's Halimi Raj. Regimes are...
I don't know the details of the Khalistan, but I'll definitely live in India than living in any other country where there's no appeasement politics there. So I would definitely live in a pluralistic society like in UK or India, but never live in a...
But people are being marginalized. So the fact is, we're trying to give a model of Halemi Raj.
It's 5 to 11 here on the Big Debate. And we're going to go to Ricky. Got plenty of people that still want to get to. And if you want to get your thoughts on the programme today, 03459 440 445, a text is 81869 or email thebigdebate@bbc.co.uk. Do you feel that do you welcome Narendra Modi back to the UK? How do you feel about that? Let's go to Ricky, who's been waiting patiently. Should he be welcomed, Ricky?
Hi, and good morning to everybody on the panel. Just a quick point I wanted to make. Where I stand on welcoming Mr. Modi. Politically, yes, he should be welcomed. He's head of a state. We should give him that honor. But personally, I think he's not great, not that great a figure, and he's not good and that much for India as everybody is making out that he has. Let's talk about economy as your previous caller Poonam was saying. Right. Economy is not made. Country's economy is not made in 4 years. It's made over the time, right? Foreign direct investment did not start in the last 4 years. It has been happening since Manmohan Singh was the finance minister. That was in the early 90s. Okay.
If I have to say something to Modi, I would definitely agree with what my colleague has said. That definitely 1984 genocides must be investigated and the perpetrator must be punished, and that's what I've been saying. But asking for Khalistan
I want to come back on the point that Ricky was making there about the fact that actually foreign development and investment in India didn't just start in the last 4 years. What do you make of what he was saying there?
See, I've given you the figure that FDI has increased up to 40% in last 4 years. So that's the stats from the national statistics from the national statistics.
So it's increased 40%, Ricky, in the last 4 years. So that is still, it might not have started, but it's witnessed a serious spike. Ricky?
And there's no corruption in last 4 years, so that's the biggest thing.
All right. I would like to again ask this question. I haven't got any stats on my hand, okay? But in last 4 years, if you're saying that it's increased by 40-odd%, do you not think it's an effect of that have been built up by the previous government, including BJP, including Mr. Vajpayee? I'm not citing Congress.
So when there's something good happen, it happened because of the previous government.
Let's go to reading very quickly, guys.
Let me just finish what I'm saying, Vineet.
Go ahead.
It isn't happening. There is a build-up for the process, okay? It doesn't happen all of a sudden in an economy. Any country's economy is not built in 4 years, as I was saying.
Thanks for that, Ricky. I do apologise because it's 10:58. It's 10:58, so I've got to move on to our final caller who's called in, Reena Anand. Reena, what do you make of this? You've been hearing it all today. Do you welcome Narendra Modi, or as this is proven, just dividing everybody? Is he a divisive figure?
I don't have any feelings of not welcoming him or welcoming him with wide open arms. I think whatever he's doing fine. Mm-hmm. But it was just very upset hearing everybody. And, they all seem to sidetrack the issue. And what really upset me the most is everybody's trying to fight their own corners, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, what I feel strongly is we are Indians, and everybody seems to have forgotten that. This is a Sikh problem. I want a different Sikh. I want a Hindu state, or I want a Muslim state. What's the problem with Kashmir? Like one of the girls said, I don't remember her name. At the end of the day, India is what it is now.
So it's time to unite.
With spilt milk, yeah.
Okay, Reena. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that. It's 10:59 now, so we've got to go. But Reena, do get that point. I really appreciate that. Right, we've got We've got a few more. We've got about 30 seconds or so. You two have been very heated on this. I just want you guys to shake hands. I just want you to acknowledge each other. That's all I want to do. Is that okay?
That's what Sikhi is, yeah.
So I always consider Sikh as my brothers. They have never taken any reservation of their caste or anything. They are just 2%, but they are the highest 20%.
So you two can have good feelings after this.
Yeah, I consider.
Then we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much for your time there. I wish he thinks the same for us.
This is the British Asian Sound. On digital radio and on your mobile.